Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss a challenge of being a man in modern society and what the hell that even means. We're going to discuss a real challenge tonight. I'm Kane, and joining me tonight, as always, or as usual, or as sometimes, are Ryan and Matty. How are you, boys?
Good, mate. Well, here.
What's new?
Big weekend here. Had Friday off. There's just a lot of life admin jobs going on at the moment with this move that we've recently had. So I was putting together a lot of furniture and just ticking boxes left, right, and centre. It's been very hot. We had 37, I think, on Friday. So I'm freaking out with the grass. But yeah, managed to give it a good soaking.
How are you going with the fires up there? Are they fairly nearby, some of them, or they're a fair way away?
Yeah, so everyone knows the Sunshine Coast. So they're about they're up around just past Noosa, I believe, was some. But I think the ones down in New South Wales, around Port Stephens, perhaps, I think they're a lot worse. So yeah, some smoke's drifting in from Noosa, but yeah, not as bad as New South Wales.
That's terrible. They're just awful, and it's just that it's really early in the season for anything like that to be happening. So yeah, it's just not good at all. How's your weekend, Ryan?
Good. I've had a very lazy day today. Dropped my brother off at the airport so he can fly back to Canada. So I enjoyed catching up with him yesterday, and then today it's just been a nice couch relaxing day because we've been closer to 13 than 37 down here, Matt. So yeah, very nice weekend.
It has been cold. Of course, it was Cup week just gone, and my tip magic wand was a bit unlucky in the Melbourne Cup and then backed up on Saturday and won the McKinnon Stake. So I was one race too early, but she was a bit unlucky on Cup day for all the feedback and the haters who are hating on my tips. But Matthew, dad joke, you're up this evening?
Yeah, I was just wondering if I ever told you guys about this symphony I wrote about tortillas.
No.
Well, actually, it's not really a symphony. It's more of a rap.
Oh, dear.
Wow.
Oh, that's golden.
It's getting worse.
Yeah, they're just going downhill. I think they peaked last week, and it's going to be downhill from here. It is Movember. It's still Movember. There's lots of mows going on. There's lots of people putting up pages and getting donations, which is great. It's all for a good cause. Movember being focused on men's health. And one of the key planks of Movember and men's health is testicular cancer. And we have a survivor amongst us. Matthew, when were you diagnosed with testicular cancer? I know it goes back quite a while.
Yeah, 2013 was when I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. So going on 6 years now. It was a very, very surreal experience.
Yeah. So how did it start? How did you have an inkling or some kind of idea that you had testicular cancer or there's something wrong with you?
This part I'll never ever forget. I was taking a shower and I just decided to wash the old balls, and I felt a little hard lump on the bottom of one of them, and I was just feeling a little bit more because I never really washed down there with much attention, to be honest. It was just a quick wash and then out you go. But once I felt that little sort of lump, I started thinking, wow, could that actually be something? And then I didn't really get onto it straight away. I might have left it a day or two and it was still there. And I thought, I just talked to my wife, Kim, and yeah, she started getting a little bit worried, and then she started making me a bit worried. So we just went straight to the doctor, just straight to the GP. It was the first port of call. And he said, look, he didn't really, of course, at that stage, he didn't want to confirm or deny anything. So he said, look, best you go and get a bit of an ultrasound. So then within a day or two as well, I was straight to an ultrasound. And it wasn't there, but you could sort of get the vibe from the ultrasound guy, who obviously can't diagnose anything on the spot, but just from sort of his tone, you knew something was up. So from there, the ultrasound results came in, and the GP referred me to the guy who would remove my testicle, I should say, orchidectomy. What's the term, Ryan, for an orchidectomy?
No, I can't say this is an This isn't one that I'm full bottle on, unfortunately.
The nut lopper.
The nut lopper, we'll call it the nut lopper. So even at that stage, there wasn't any confirmation of cancer as such, because they needed to remove the testicle to see exactly, and from there is where they've diagnosed the cancer.
Okay, so like we're three guys, we're older guys, like fairly old. Don't say oldish, I'm the oldest, but we've all felt testicles before, our own. Most people who are probably listening to this have felt testicles in some format. They're about the size of a pickled onion, I guess. How small or how big was the lump that you felt on there? Like for it to be noticeable, and you thinking it was a bit unusual?
Yeah, it was exactly the feeling of sort of, that dried up pea. You know how it gets almost like golf ball-y and crusty, but that's obviously smaller than a golf ball, but that is exactly what it felt like.
So on the outside of, so when I say the outside of the testicle, obviously it's inside, we'll use the technical terms, so we'll just say, and then on technical terms, so your sac. So your nuts were in your sac, and then obviously when you were feeling your sac, you could feel like a noticeable lump on your nut.
Yeah, yep. And I felt the other side, and there was nothing there. That was all fine. And then it was, very noticeable, that little pea sort of shaped feeling.
I could imagine at that point, like when you felt it, it's super unusual, and there can only really be a couple of things, I guess, when it's down there. Did they have anything that could be anything else, or that the testicular cancer is the default?
I think, well, if they were thinking something else that they didn't mention to me, but they were very, very, very harsh until it got to the sort of the oncologist stage, which was the guy who diagnosed the cancer. Yeah. But I mean, even when you feel something down there, you're right. Straight away, your mind goes to something like, this has got to be cancer. There's something not right here.
Yeah. And so one diagnosis for eyes, so you working through it before, what was the time that, I guess, the amount of time which passed between feeling the lump and being diagnosed, or even from testing to diagnosis? Because I know 2 or 3 guys who've gone through cancer treatment, and they said that not knowing part of even a week was the hardest part of their whole life.
Yeah. For me, it was about 10 days, I think it was, maybe 10 days or 2 weeks from when I felt the lump to when I had the testicle removed, and then when I'd seen the oncologist. So there was quite a busy period there, like seeing GPs and ultrasounds, getting it removed, and then also the oncologist. So yeah,
when do you think you knew?
Yeah, look, I probably knew. You kind of sort of know straight away, mate. Like when you feel that lump, you know something that's cancer. So I think that's probably when I knew.
I remember when you told me, like, we Skype called, and we didn't Skype call that much. You'd been up in Queensland for a little while then, and we probably weren't talking. I say not talking as much. We weren't kind of talking too much. But I remember exactly where I was sitting when you told me that this was the diagnosis and you were having a testicle removed. And far out, I can't imagine how hard it is to kind of tell people. Or is it, once you know, is it good to kind of get it off your chest? I don't know. You didn't seem to tell too many people.
No, I didn't. I kept it pretty quiet. And look, to be honest, this is weird because it affects people in different ways. And when I found out, I don't remember feeling scared or worried that this was going to be the end or this is my time. I sort of felt, because I'd been told when I saw the GP and the ultrasound, and they kind of mentioned, look, if you're going to get a cancer, testicular cancer is the one to get it. It's very treatable. Like, it's almost, everyone sort of beats it. And even some people throwing around that, in X amount of years' time, it'll just be a common thing that people get. They might not even call it cancer because it's so curable, I guess. You get gotten early. So I was never kind of scared, but I sort of only wanted to tell people close to me because I didn't want to make a big song and dance about it. I just wanted to get through it and then start living life as I had been previous to it.
And was that one of the reasons, I guess, behind not telling people, or many people, was because A, you thought you'd be over and done with pretty quickly, and B, I won't say what people would say, but people have a way of making you probably feel worse than you felt when you're diagnosed with something, which is, in theory, quite serious.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I guess I didn't really want to tell many people because I didn't want them sort of feeling sorry for me or seeing me in a bit of a weak or vulnerable position. even when I was having the treatment and I was, sometimes having been admitted to hospital, I sort of want to keep visitors to a minimum. I didn't really expect or want my mates to be coming up to see me. I just sort of wanted to get through it and, get out the other side. So, I'm not too sure. I think that's why I didn't tell any people.
Yeah. Did you have one? You had the one kid then, didn't you?
We did. Yeah, we had Mia. So I just got the testicle removed 2 days before her first birthday. So I was walking around with a little hobble. But which in looking back, it was great to only have one kid, because it would have been so much harder, I guess, during the chemo and also the recovery, having those extra kids running around and seeing the extra burden that would have placed on Kim, I guess.
Yeah. Well, outside of the testicle being removed, what was the treatment after that? There's obviously further treatment as well. Yeah.
So once the testicle had been done and dusted, and then I started talking to the oncologist, they put me on they were giving me pumping 3 drugs into me through a portacath. Actually, no, Kim. She's hang on.
Because your wife has also gone through cancer treatment and cancer as well, hasn't she?
She has, yeah. Which we can mention tonight, or we can talk about another time. But it was 3 months worth of chemo, and they gave me 3 drugs. So it was 5 days on, and then which was 5 hours each day of chemo of one drug. The second week was 2 days of the second drug, and the third week was 1 day. So it sort of petered down, and then it ramped back up again week 4. So it was 3 months worth of that, which was pretty intense. So when I first spoke to the oncologist, he's like, at first you will think nothing's sort of happening. Your body won't really notice it, but you'll start to sort of deteriorate. And I remember after the first session, I went out for a run, and it just floored me. It was, my body just felt so tired, and little things started to change in my body as well. So I remember anytime I would nod my head, it would affect the nerves in the back of my neck. So I'd get like zaps every time I'd nod my head, or even when I went for a run, and my feet, when they pitter-pattered on the ground, it would send sort of shocks up my feet, and that was all just a little side effect. So it was weird little things that the chemo sort of did to me.
And did it get worse as you worked through the cycles? Like 3 months, I guess it's a 3-month set of, treatment. But did it get progressively worse through the cycles and the way your body reacted?
It did, yeah. So there were a couple of things. One of the side effects is your taste buds go all crazy. So there wasn't a lot of food I liked to eat. One of them was foods high in salt. So KFC and Hungry Jack's and that kind of stuff got a good run, but there was some low points there where I just didn't want to eat anything. So, and this would go on maybe for a day or a couple of days. And there was one instance where I did faint in front of Kim, and the ambulance had to be called and I had to be taken away. And another one was that anytime your temperature went above 38, then you were straight into hospital, because you just had no immune system from the chemotherapy. So they would throw you into hospital, and they'd keep you in there for a good 4 to 5 days, checking your bloods daily, making sure your levels were back up and you were reaching certain marks before they would let you go home. So I was probably in hospital over the 3-month cycle probably 4 or 5 times. But then after that, they did notice a bit of a scarring on my lung, which they weren't sure if that was to do with the cancer had sort of spread a little bit, or it was something else. So I did have to have an operation at the end of the treatment to remove that sort of scar tissue off the lung, and that sort of kept me out for a little bit longer as well. So it was pretty intense.
Yeah, were they worried at any point that, apart from that scarring on the lungs, that the cancer had moved? Because that's when things get really serious, when the cancer starts to spread. Were they worried at any point, or was it pretty clean? It was just in one testicle?
Yeah, it was just in one testicle. It wasn't the lymph nodes in that area, and just the chest as well. But apart from that, no, they seemed quite happy with the way the chemo was reacting and doing its job. So I guess I was lucky that it was a straight case, I guess, chemo in and then cancer out.
Yeah. And did you lose your hair?
I did. I did lose my hair. I started pulling clumps out, and I thought, no, I'll shave this off. So I did shave it off. And I remember taking some photos and seeing some friends looking a bit like Voldemort when from Harry Potter with that bald head and everything. But I guess, yeah, that was a weird thing as well, shaving your head and then looking at yourself in the mirror for a good 3 to 4 months. I remember I had a wedding to go to in October, which was post chemo, but obviously I still had no hair. I just look back now and just think, oh, it was a terrible look. And I just really hated looking at myself at that point in time. That was probably one of the low things as well, just seeing yourself so different. And I guess you feel a bit vulnerable, like people looking at you going, I know no one's obviously looking at you thinking, anything negative, but from the image you project from within yourself is, it's a little bit negative.
I could see it comes across as I'd be really self-conscious.
Absolutely, yeah, because you're out in the world looking completely different to what you normally do, and that people are, they're looking at you differently than what they normally would.
Yeah. So what was the recovery time like? How long did it take? And you were lucky. I say you're lucky. You're not lucky you got cancer, but you're lucky that it was fairly clean in and out. The treatment went really well. What happens at the end of the process when the doctor's happy that they've got everything out? What does it look like from that point?
Yeah, so that was probably end of September. September is when my 3 months finished. Then the lung operation. And then following on from that, it was really, it was every 3 months seeing the oncologist for a year, and then that moves out to 5 months, 6 months, and then now I'm on a yearly basis. So basically what he's doing in those periods is getting me to get a lung scan every second time, and also a chest x-ray as well. And also obviously get your blood levels done as well. So I've been lucky enough, every single one of those I've passed. It hasn't come back. And they say that once you get to 10 years, but once we got to 5 years, Kimmy did throw me a little surprise party, and then she spoke to the oncologist, and he said, "Oh no, it's 10." So we're halfway there. We're more than halfway there now because we're up to 6. So I think I'm out of the woods, which is good.
Wow. And how long do you felt back to normal, if that makes sense? Like until you felt in yourself that you were back to old Matty? If you have got back to old Matty.
Yeah, I'm well and truly back. It was probably a good 6 months post chemo, so from September onwards, because obviously your hair grows back, your taste buds come back. There's a little bit of scarring on the body, which is a side effect of one of the chemo drugs as well. And just that sort of tingling and zapping I mentioned before, that took a long time to go away. Like even you'd just get out of the shower and look down and you go, oh, geez, okay, it's still there. That was the longest to go away. But then after a good 6 months, it was fine, and I was back running again, and I felt where I was, before the treatment.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing you recovered that quickly.
Yeah, well, I guess they chose the right drugs for me, and the treatment just worked really well. Albeit I was in hospital every now and then. I mean, like I said at the start, this really does affect people in different ways. But I kind of look back now and I just think of how thankful I am to our nurses and our doctors, and we are such a lucky country. And every time I was in hospital, it was this might sound a bit silly, but it was a little bit of a holiday away from home, because you're in hospital for 5 nights. You've got almost a room service menu, I guess, you're ticking off. People coming in looking after you. I mean, you're getting woken up every few hours to take your bloods, which is a bit of annoying, but it's sort of peaceful and quiet, because you'd have your own room because of the because your immune system you couldn't share with anybody. And that's just one of the quirks I guess I look back and think of.
Yeah. Now, when you had your 5 year
positive view,
that the 5 year party, obviously, then your eldest is much older, and your middle girl would be of an age where she'd understand a party. Did you explain to them what the party was for at that point of time, or was it just Daddy's having a party?
I I think it was more Daddy's having a party. Mia knew and understood what was going on. And as you said before, I guess Kim having cancer as well, sort of, and Mia being a bit older when that was taking place, she sort of understood more what it was all about. Like, because she'd go to some sessions with Kim when she had her treatment, and understood that Mummy was very sick, and also that Daddy was very sick. And even one of her teachers, or one of the teachers at her school, also got testicular cancer. And from that, she understood as well, oh yeah, my dad's had that. But whereas Eloise, I think, is just a little bit too young to understand. But I'll definitely mention to it one day.
Yeah, and Sammy as well, I guess. Obviously, with it being testicular, I don't know when they say hereditary stuff, I'm not sure of any linkages around that. But I guess at some point, it's important that he knows.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they need to be aware of what's out there and how to sort of self-diagnose or self-test for these kind of things. And yeah, I'll be very hammering it home to him to make sure he has a feel down there.
No. I'm sure he will when he turns 13 anyway, but maybe not down there. There's some really good information on the Movember website. This is it's a very easy thing for people to kind of look over, but it's also a very easy thing to test. Guys on the whole have pretty much got their hand on it at some point most days. So, it's not that much of a stretch to actually, give yourself a test every now and again. And Movember's got some great information, and basically get steamy, have a warm shower, apparently put your nuts in the mood, roll one nut between the thumb and the finger to get to know what's normal, and repeat with the other one. So it's maybe 15 seconds, 20 seconds?
Yeah. And hopefully you don't find anything.
If you do, make sure you act on it really quickly, because I'd imagine that would have been exceptionally helpful. The fact that you didn't kind of, maybe just go, oh, she'll be right, mate. You actually gone, okay, something's up, spoke to Kim about it. And then, within 10 days or a couple of weeks, it was, I won't say sorted, but you'd at least had the majority of it kind of dealt with.
Yeah, and I think that's key. I mean, as soon as you feel something, definitely go and get it checked out. Don't ignore it. And especially if you're, I guess, an older gentleman. I was probably lucky because I was a bit younger. But yeah, definitely act on it.
Yeah. Now, it is called orchiectomy, which is the surgical removal of a testicle.
Yes, orchidectomy. I just wasn't sure of the term of the orchidectomist.
I think
what that's called.
Nutlop is probably easy to remember.
Nutlopper. Yeah. But I just want to say as well, if you do happen to go through this, you don't have to do what I did and not tell too many people. Tell as many people as you want, however you feel comfortable. Everybody that I did tell was so supportive, and anything you needed, it was there for you, whether it be help Kim with the kids, cooking dinners, to giving me emotional support as well, or, I say I didn't really want many visitors, but hell, they still came up anyway, and it was great to have them there. So yeah, don't sort of, unless you really want to, don't keep it to yourself, because there's, everybody is out there to help you.
Yeah, sharing this and sharing any sort of issue in men's health, be it mental health, be it health issues you're going through, is really important for the person going through it, but also helps the people that you're having it shared with, because just gets them to think about things and life, and actually being able to help somebody else as well, which is a really important part of life.
It's a big reason why we think Movember is such a good cause.
Yeah, and for all those people out there growing mustaches, it's good to grow a mustache, but it's even better when you actually set up a Movember page and get some money donated to it, because every dollar does help. We had the Movember guys on here last year in Movember discussing the Movember movement and things around that. So do donate, and if you are growing a mo, set up a page. Ryan, your indoor cricket team has a page this year, does it not?
We do. There's a few of us saving the world from a mo, myself included, being naturally blonde. So if you don't want to grow a mo, or if you choose to save the world from that, you can also clock 60 kilometers. So next weekend, I'll be running a 50k Spartan race in Bright in dedication of November. And our indoor cricket team, I think I just checked before we jumped on here, we've raised about $1,330 to date. So we're certainly hoping that it goes to the good cause that is Movember.
50k Spartan will be a piece of cake after a marathon, won't it?
I hope so. Well, very different type of races, but we'll find out.
Well, you look at, well, this is the first time you've done a 50, isn't it? Because you've done the trifecta
Yeah.
before, but actually a full 50s. Is this is this it? Once you've done this, you're off the Spartans, or?
Yeah, well, this is the only race that I haven't conquered yet. So once I do this, I'm gonna have to find something else stupid to do.
Wow, that's huge.
The key is though there is a time limit that does cut off on this race. So there's a number of people. It's not uncommon on your first crack to not finish it.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be
So
fine.
hopefully I will finish it.
You've done your marathon now. You got the 42Ks under the belt. Like, you don't have to go at a breakneck pace doing the Spartan. So I'm sure you'll be fine.
Very true.
Well, Matthew, thank you so much for sharing some of that story tonight, or a lot of your story with regards to your testicular cancer. I think it's really important to share these sort of things. And yeah, you actually opening up and telling us about your experience has been great, buddy.
No worries, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Have a
amazing.
feel.
Might outsource that one. And that about wraps it up for this week. Remember to subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes if you haven't done already. While you're there, please leave a review. Tell your mates about the podcast, especially if they are guys. Most of all, thanks for listening. And we'll be back next week for another episode, or should I say serving, of Daddy Eats Last. Now, please check your nut sacks. Catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.